Hey there. So I decided to take out my HK45, the German one with the Trij HDs, to give it a little run. I dusted off my HK Pro HK45Cs, and I had some spare 45 left over. And I realized that I'd left this 13 rounder loaded for a very long time. So it was partially to flush out the Trij HDs, but I also wanted to see if that 13 rounder was any good, because everybody asked me about it and I should have run it more. But I feel leaving it loaded for 18 months with 230 grain was a good test. And I thought the magazine spring was fatigued, but it turns out that it's not.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So pretty excited about that. For the HK45 series and the P30s and the VP9s, I absolutely recommend and prefer the Meprolite night sights. It's not necessarily about the sight structure itself or how the dots are or anything like that, it's the height. For some reason, with the amount of rounds that I have through the HK45, P30s, and VP9s, I just got used to that sight height or something. But what was really nice about it is wherever you shoot with this dot, that's where the bullet's going, so long as you do what you're supposed to do with the trigger. It goes right behind the front post, which is great. Makes shooting effortless. Not with the Trijicon HDs, however, because for some reason, Trijicon decided to make them a half value taller. So this is like a 1.5 where the MEPs are a 1 and then suppressor heights are like a 2.0 value. It's kind of frustrating because I really, really like Trijicon HDs, and how used to the platform I am already was frustrated by this sight height.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Because when I touch a round off, I noticed it was hitting lower and it was not good, because I'm not going to say like a grandmaster level bullseye shooter, but I was really, really good with the Meprolites and still am. And it's less thought that I have to put in there. But the way the Trijicon HDs are designed are my preference. While I'm not married to how the Meprolites are, I am married to that height, so that's why I wanted to take it out again. Because if you look at anything else I have, it's gonna have Trijicon HDs on it. They're definitely my preferred sight. And it's also frustrating because if you go on other guns, the Trijicon HDs are maybe a quarter value taller or the same height. So on the USP series, it's so close that it's negligible. And while the Glock sights are taller than standard Glock sights, this is exactly the height they should be. So it's better in a way, and it fixes the point of impact with your point of aim, in my opinion, because the other sights that Glock uses are garbage. And I do prefer the Trijicons over the Ameriglows, which I know is going to upset some people, but I digress. But shooting it was nice. I really forgot how awesome the HK45 is in my hands. It's like my character's gun. As much as I love the USP and the Mark 23, the HK45 fits me better than any other handgun. And this German HK45, though there's really no difference in anything, has the most aggressive texture, probably because I don't shoot it as much. But the two colored frames, I noticed that even though the texture is identical as far as how they textured it, it's smoother. So there's something with these two colored polymers that made it different. I don't know, but my OD green and my tan are a lot more smooth compared to the two black HK45s I have. And this one in particular has really aggressive texturing, which is nice. So I don't have to do anything to it. Shooting it has really highlighted to me that I need to put more work in with it and incorporate it into more systems. I need to get some holsters for it outside of the ones I already have, with a Surefire X300 UB, and for the tactical model so I can interchange them all. But these magazines already fit in the mag pouches that I have, and I shoot this thing so well. Having not shot in a while, you couldn't tell that from the opening footage, I'm sure. But between trying to shake out the Trijicon HDs and everything, it was, you know, a little bit of a process between that and knocking the dust off, because it had been a while since I'd shot. I really do like this gun. I got to get more 13 rounders for it. This thing ran really well. I was very happy with it. I used it throughout the shooting session because I wanted to keep testing it. So it wasn't like I just shot 13 rounds it was loaded with forever. I shot them and then, you know, was using it for the empty magazine to lock it to the rear for reloads and everything like that, dropping it on the ground, all sorts of other stuff. And it held up for the whole day. So a lot of guys were expressing, oh, this magazine sucks because blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it held up all day. And most guys that I know don't leave their magazines loaded as long as I did. And the rounds that I had were super old and they still cycled. So pretty good all the way around. And this gun really shoots well in my hands. So I need to stop forgetting this gun exists and give it its due attention. It's an excellent suppressor platform, and I just shoot it so damn well. I'm very, very comfortable with it. And that's from years of shooting it, admittedly, and I have 4 of them between the 2 tacticals, this and the LEM. It's not like I'm just magically better with it, but I will say that this trigger is extra stiff compared to my other ones, but it's still really, really good. These guns are really solid out of the factory. And this single action is just, it's funny because it's heftier than any of the other HK45s I have in this German version. It's probably breaking around 5.5 pounds, but it's super clean. And I don't have any issues hitting what I'm shooting at, and I'm positive over time it's gonna smoothen out, just like every other high round count HK I've ever fired. But I just wanted to let everybody know I still have this German HK45, and my 2 oldest magazines held up, numbers 1 and 2, and one of them has the old school made in Germany on it, which is pretty cool. This magazine's over a decade old, and all of them ran fine. So this is a really good system overall, and I'm very happy with it. As I close out here, don't forget to appreciate the things that you currently own. And if it's something that you don't like, you know, a pistol that you started with and it's really not that good, go ahead and get rid of it. But the guns that you have that are good and have never let you down and you have no reason to dislike them at all, don't forget you have them chasing all these other platforms. And that's something I have to remind myself of too. But I really have to start pushing back into my 45s because I've forgotten how good they are and how well I shoot them. And I did miss today with it, but honestly, the misses were very, very slight with the full size, and it's such a pleasant gun to shoot. It's also gangster as fuck to run what you own well and show people that, you know, someone might say, hey, oh, that HK45, blah, 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 and then you take it out and shred with it and then put it back in your holster, and they're like, whoa, how'd you do that? Learn how to run the things that you have. Anyone can think how they want to think about what you own, so long as you run it well. And if you have something you don't run well, then maybe it's time to switch or get rid of it or push into something that you know you run better. Having things that you run well incorporated into your gear and training with them is very important, because there's a lot of people talking about, you know, wanting to improve their skills or have kit or whatever you want to, whatever weird situation you want to come up with. If that does happen to you, you want to be able to use the things that you have. So if you're more than a gun collector and you're someone who trains and you work with the things that you have, I highly recommend putting in good work with the stuff that you have already. I'm not saying don't buy the other things, but if you have something, you better know how to use it. And be effective with it. You know, push yourself into multiple scenarios and see if it can hold up. Do your own self-assessment for selection of that weapon, for better or for worse. See if it fits. If it doesn't fit and it's just something you have to look pretty and you don't need it, maybe it's time to pitch it, or maybe it's time to put it in a case. I don't know. That's just my input. I really love this HK45. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.